From Abuja, the nation's capital, this is Matters Arising, coming to you live from the studio of KAFTAN Television. Matters Arising is the flagship talk show of KAFTAN TV that features in-depth discussions and analysis of topical and trending national and international issues by our team of seasoned broadcast journalists. My name is Macauley Hunohashi, saying thanks for joining us tonight.
I am John Okoro. Welcome to the program.
Okechukwu Onubogu here. Good to have you there.
We welcome you to today's show, which promises to be engaging, incisive, and interactive. You can also be a part of the conversation by calling our phone number 0802-993-8365, which will be displayed on your screen later in the course of the show. Gentlemen, this is day 5 of the planned nationwide protest, and tension has been on and off, but today it's still rising in so many places. One funny thing happened with the spectacles of lootings that's being reported by the media across the country. One of the funniest part of it is the looting that happened in a place in Kano. Hoodlums broke into the National Library branch of Kano and looted and carted away valuables. But one thing that they left untouched were books. They didn't pick one single book, following accounts by eyewitnesses. To me, it's so funny, and it goes to, to attest this platitude by a famous professor that if you want to hide information from a Nigerian, put it in a book. I feel so sad as a reader. To me, it's funny.
Well, I think it's quite a pity that they had to leave books and collect every other thing. That's the way I also heard that they went to a yogurt factory and took all the yogurt. Can you imagine that?
At least yogurt is edible.
Yes.
The books are not edible. Perhaps that's the reason why they didn't touch the books.
The books that are the things that will help you in life, that's the thing they had to drop. Well, do you think it's not okay?
It's condemnable. Looting is condemnable.
It's highly condemnable. And, for another person who is watching this or who is watching from the sidelines, watching all these things happening, and for those who are also participating in it, I mean the people who are looting, who have hijacked the protest and they are looting all over the place, their target will always be a thing that they will see that will be of value to them. And for an ordinary person on the street today, it's not about books. It's not about books.
They don't know the value of books.
It's not about books.
It's you that know the value of books.
Exactly. So
because you are an avid reader.
People who are in the thick of this looting, it's not about books.
Well, at KAFTAN Television, we condemn wanton looting of property and destruction of property. Well, on that note, before I introduce our topic of discussion, let's join Bridget Mamman for a quick roundup of events and happenings in the polity.
The End Bad Governance protest resumed on Monday at the Freedom Park, Ojota, Lagos, despite the nationwide broadcast by President Bola Tinubu. A statement signed by Hassan Taiwo, Ayoyinka Oni, and Adeboyiga Adeniji on behalf of the End Bad Governance in Nigeria Organizing Committee said the address by President Bola Tinubu had yet to address their demands. While taking note of Tinubu's offer of dialogue, they noted that the president cannot be approbating and reprobating at the same time by ordering that the protest be suspended. The federal government has issued a travel alert to Nigerians planning to travel to the United Kingdom. This is contained in a statement by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Eche Abu Obi. The travel alert notes that there is an increased risk of violence and disorder occasioned by the recent riots in the UK, which began last week from the killing of 3 young girls at a concert. England has been rocked in recent days by anti-immigrant protests and violence, which have been blamed on the far right. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has announced the final figure for newly registered voters ahead of the upcoming Edo and Ondo state governorship elections. The National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumeku, announced the figure in a press release issued in Abuja on Monday. The statement said that the number of new voters for Edo State is 119,206 and 58,708 for Ondo State. The Ondo governorship election will take place on September 21st to 2024, while the Ondo State election comes up on November 16, 2024. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, has said that the country is expecting a bumper harvest this year. The minister noted that the federal government has put measures in place to address the situation, include huge investments in agriculture, which will increase food production. Kyari attributed the reasons for the acute food shortage in the country to seasonal flooding, habitation problems, and insecurity.
Welcome back, and thanks to Bridget for bringing us up to speed with news making the headlines. And now to our topic of discussion tonight, which is still on nationwide protests. Today is day 5 of the nationwide protest tagged End Bad Governance. The protest, which commenced on August 1st, is in response to the economic hardship and hunger currently ravaging the nation. The aim is to get the attention of government to do something urgent in order to arrest the ugly economic situation on ground. On the 4th day of the protest, Sunday, August 4th, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in a nationwide broadcast, appealed to Nigerians to stop the protest and embrace dialogue, noting that their demands have been heard loud and clear. He also reeled out some measures he said he has taken to cushion the effect of the hardship on citizens. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also commiserated with those who lost their lives in the protest. While condemning the looting and destruction of property, he vowed that his administration will deal decisively with troublemakers. Minutes after the presidential address, reactions began to trickle in. While some Nigerians commended the broadcast, others expressed disappointment. Prominent Nigerians such as Professor Wole Soyinka, Femi Falana, Obi Ezekwesili, among others, criticized it, saying it did not address the demands of the protesters, which include the reversal of fuel subsidy removal and electricity tariff hike. They also condemned the speech for not addressing the issue of the alleged killing of protesters by security agents. Despite the appeal by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the protest should end to create room for dialogue, Nigerians who are not satisfied with the president's speech have vowed to return to the streets to continue the protest. Gentlemen, where do we go from here? The protest has continued. Even though I commend the Southeasterners for not coming out to demonstrate. This is day 5. They have come out in unison from common ground to say they are not participating in this protest because in the first place, they have their own fair share of marginalization and things like that. If people are talking about hunger, it's not as if they are not hungry, but they said they are not coming out to participate in any nationwide protest. And I really give them kudos for that. Even though the point has been made by so many Nigerians that there is widespread hunger, you cannot deny the fact. I don't want to go back to what triggered this thing, talking about subsidy removal, we're talking about reactions by prominent Nigerians, and Nigerians are reacting. But one takeaway that I must talk about in terms of reaction is the reaction coming from government. In particular, 2 governors came out to at least 3. Fubara on Friday, on Thursday came out. He received, demonstrators, And he promised that he was going to take their grievances and their complaints to the center, to the president. And then the Governor Fintiri of Adamawa said yesterday, while the president gave his address in the morning, he gave a statewide broadcast in the afternoon where he said, President Bola Tinubu should act very fast. And Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, came out and spoke in the same vein. So my concern is that why are governors shying away from taking, part of the responsibility for this widespread hunger, because they are the subnationals, and then the blame is being heaped on the president, being heaped on the center, and the governors are also tactically, extricating themselves from any blame.
Well, I will not blame the governors entirely for not.
I'm not blaming them entirely.
Yeah, for not doing that, because you see, everything has a genesis. You see, the main point from where all these things emanate is the removal of subsidy.
You still want to go back to that?
Please, you want me to talk?
It is the removal of subsidy. We all know. Everybody knows.
No, so that's why you asked a question. That's what I'm trying to say for our discussion.
I didn't ask a question.
Okay, you suggested something, so that's why I'm continuing from there. You see, why I'm saying it is that even if you hear it 400 times in one day, that's the simple truth. And if anybody wants to tell the truth, let the truth be told. These governors did not remove subsidy. Why are you worrying them? They are doing their own the best way they can. As far as I know, we were told, because if not for just what you did, we were told that some tons of rice were sent to states. That's where I said, because I said governors should not be blamed entirely. That's where I said there is what belongs to them. This one, how those things are distributed to the states, to the people in the states, if it's not well done, that's where you blame the governors.
Is it well done?
That's the point. That's why I said they will not be entirely blamed. But I didn't say that they will not be blamed at all. Don't forget that. So my own point from the distribution of the items, the food items and all that, though, 20 tons, what is it? 20 trailer loads.
20 trailers load of rice.
20 trailer load of 25 kg bags of rice. It's not so many. Anyway, we don't have so many people that will get to have it. How many people are in one state? So if you look at it that way, but the fact is that if it is now distributed among the local governments, and then from the local governments, they will distribute it among their wards or whatever, that is the closer part, their wards, then that's where it would make impact. Though still, by the time you finish doing it, you may find out that it's only about 10 people in each ward, or 10 people in each ward that got it. So you still see that it's almost nothing as far as the number is concerned. Because when you talk about 25 kg, if it's a family of 5, that 25 kg rice will not last more than, 2 weeks. If you want to be honest with ourselves, if that's the only thing they eat. So that's the thing. So that one is the one we'll be looking at. As I mentioned earlier here in this program some time ago, that some states, even in Rivers and some other states, they brought their own, added to it. Another state added, Bayelsa, added their own bag of gari to the rice that was brought in. So you see, when you add and do these things, yes, something good will come out of it. Maybe if you get to the states where they have yam, a whole lot, they could also take the rice and add yam to it and all that, so as to make it work. But don't forget, no matter what anybody says, the main point that started all this is that removal of fuel subsidy. That's the truth.
I think the protests, as we see them happening today, has its roots fundamentally on bad governance, just like the name implies. And governance here also incorporates the 3 tiers of government that we have in the country.
That's
talking
right.
about the federal government, talking about the state government, also talking about local government. Yeah, but we also know that if you want to be specific on what triggered, this free fall of the economy that now brought us to where we are today, then you could now link it to some missteps in the macroeconomic policies of this government, especially in the area of removing fuel subsidies and then devaluing or floating the currency without having the requisite foundation for the country, especially the issue of infrastructure, and also you don't have a social security package,
safety net,
that people can actually lean back to in a time where we have a crunch period such as this. So, however, my concern here is already we have the protests going on. It is about what will be or what has been and what will become the response of government, whether at the level or at the federal level or at the state level or at the local government level. But mostly now, everyone's attention is at the federal level. It is the response of government that I am concerned about.
We're all concerned about the response of government, but let's take this caller, please. Hello? Okay.
You will also see that in addition to all that, the arrangement, just as you mentioned, you know, sometimes you want to see if you could use some words to cover the thing to make it look better. But the simple truth is that there are arrangements that were not made. That's what is causing the problem. Like, as I have said a countless number of times here, that nobody is against removal of subsidy, but it's the system of its removal that everybody is against.
Okay, to go hold your thoughts there, let's take this caller. Good evening. This is matters arising from KAFTAN Television live from Abuja. We have lost the caller. I think the lines are epileptic.
Like our president had arranged, mentioned that there
the caller has called
provision. Okay.
Hello. Good evening. This is good evening. This is matters arising.
Okay, thank you.
Your name, please?
My name is Nasser from Jos.
Nasser from Jos. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, sir. The problem of this country, as one of your uncle is saying, the president did not plan when he removed subsidy. That is one. Two, I don't know who is selling him the fraud of CNG. He has been talking about CNG for over a year now. There are no buses. There are no pipelines for the gas. I don't know where you get the infrastructure to power the economy with CNG. I don't know who is advising him, who they have already played a wee for him, I don't know. But things are really hard. Things are not easy. They need to work more if they want to work. If they don't want to work, it's left for them. 2027 is coming. It's just left for the people to vote them out.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
As though he took it from me, really, because what I wanted to say was the next thing, that the provision of these vehicles that are what will CNG-powered vehicles that will help cushion the effect of all this. Because if these vehicles had been placed there, first of all, then the removal happens. People can easily continue with it. But after the removal and after that Naira movement, devaluation and all that put together, I don't know what you want to call all of them. All these things, the solution is not what you just get instantly.
Okay, go ahead. You're talking about solution.
It takes time. The solution is not what you just get, because if it were to be so, why haven't we seen it? You see, the president, even from his speech, was saying that he has done this. Yes, he has done them. But the fact is, those things are the things that should have been done before the removal. But since, okay, it has been removed, okay, we have seen it. Now, these things have been done. Those things will take time to come out. They are not the things that you do and you see.
Are you speaking for government?
The instant result.
The level where we
you sound like someone who is holding brief for government.
I'm not holding brief for government. After all, people are seeing me now as being against the government.
Where we are now, you know, I think where we are now is the current scenario, which is the protest.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the protest is gone 4 days. Today is the fifth day. And yesterday, the president, was compelled to come and give a national broadcast, of which, like you said during your intro, that many Nigerians are disappointed as we speak now. because of it. And that has led to people returning to the streets.
Yes.
And then what is the response of government? Because the body language of government seems to be very high-handed. Because just sometime today, the National Security Council met with the president, and then the kind of languages coming out, you understand, from them, it doesn't sound fine. Because the military said, we are on ground and we are going to do something. Okay, are you going to turn the guns on the people?
Okay, let's take this caller. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're welcome to Matters Arising from KAFTAN TV. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Okay, I am Moses from Kwaibu State.
Okay, Moses from Kwaibu State. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, what I want to contribute, what I think today is very sympathetic in Nigeria. Because when this same president protested against good or not, cement was 1,000 naira, rice was 10 naira, things were easy. I wanted to see even in Adeboye, in a pastor, as of then, forced to protest Nigeria, against the Nigerian government. Let them come out today. Let this man resign. This man has nothing to offer for Nigeria. Let him resign and go and rest. He's a good man. Why must he allow us to suffer this way? People are dying. People are hungry all over the world. He has achieved of being a president. His name will never be deleted. But let him resign and go and rest. Leave Nigeria alone. We are suffering. Things is hard. People are dying. What does he want to do? He has nothing to offer Nigeria. Please, let him resign.
Okay, thank you.
We are tired of this government. For 1 year now, he has removed the first subsidy. Nothing work out. Why don't you resign? Come and rest.
Thank you so much. You know my reaction when I was listening to the president's broadcast. I was full of expectation that the president was going to at least talk about the demands of the protesters.
The protesters and
but
Nigerians.
the entire broadcast was silent on that one. The president succeeded in reeling out prosaic, statistics of his own achievements, and they were coming in billions and billions of dollars and naira, which I believe did not resonate with me. If the president said he has spent 500 billion naira, as part of the stimulus packages, it did not resonate with me or any person I know that's close to me. I'm sure it did not resonate with you, because if John had benefited from it, I would have known. Or if Okechukwu had benefited from any stimulus package, at least he would have told me. Okechukwu, isn't also?
At least we would have been shining.
Would have been shining.
And be smiling.
But,
and be
the
happy.
president succeeded. That's why there is widespread condemnation, just like the widespread hunger by prominent Nigerians. Senior advocate, a legal luminary, Femi Falana, spoke in the same token with former Minister of Education, Obieze Kwesili. We all know their pedigree.
And Professor Wole Soyinka.
And Professor Wole Soyinka. We know their pedigree, as senior citizens in this country. They are highly cerebral. They have seen it all. They have spoken. I don't understand. I don't just get it that, people in government will not call these people around the table and listen to them. Anyway, we are made to understand that they have met today. The Security Council have met. We're waiting to see what they will come up with. And let's take this caller. Hello. Good evening. You're welcome to Matters Arising on KAFTAN Television.
Good evening. Well done, sir. My name is Livinus. I'm calling from Anambra State.
Okay, Livinus, go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you very much, the moderator. First of all, I want to comment on what the moderator has just said, that the Southeasterners, we conducted ourselves by not participating in the protest. We here in the Southeast, we have been having our own share of the protest by every Monday. So there's no how we can also join that one with one of the nation. We here, we have been shouting, and people are not listening to us. So now is the time that people have known that there's something wrong with the country. So we thank God for that. And I want to say that those that have lost their lives, that we are praying for them. The protest is supposed to be peaceful,
yes,
not violent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Okay.
You see, what we have mentioned from what this young man, the last caller just mentioned. He said, he talked about those that have lost their lives. You see, I know that is this kind of thing that the government was trying to avoid or to prevent from happening. That was why, in the first place, they didn't want the the protest to go on. You see, but the point is that if you didn't want it, what did you do?
Thank you.
What he did was to call leaders in every aspect to talk with them, but failed to call the people that wanted to do the protest. After talking to the leaders, go and talk to your children, go and talk to them. He forgot to tell them. Because if he had agreed to, now from this speech he has made, he has said, let them come and sit at the table with him and discuss. If he had mentioned this earlier, this thing wouldn't have got to this level.
If that it's even open-ended and vague. That he's open to dialogue. To me, it's open-ended.
How would the dialogue be?
Exactly.
What would be the procedure?
Exactly. So no serious invitation
for example,
to them to come over.
In Lagos State, for example, the governor invited the protesters to a dialogue, and then directed specific ministries.
That is leadership.
To liaise and synergize with these people. He gave specific instructions.
Exactly.
Now, if you look at the presidential speech yesterday, it began by, first of all, vilifying the protest.
Exactly.
You vilified the protest and then pushed it to the doorsteps of the opposition. So the substance, despite the fact that we've had people who hijacked the protest and then looting and all other things that are negative came in. Okay. However, the protest still remains the protest that began for against bad governance. And this issue of justifying killing people.
Okay, so let's call your thoughts there, John. Hello, good evening. This is Matters Arising.
Good evening. How are you?
We are fine, and you?
My name is Yakubu Musa, calling you from Jos.
Yakubu Musa, thanks for joining us. Go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you very much. You see, what happened yesterday when you are making that broadcast, it did not aim at any single point that will determine or will make the people to have patience with them. He did not talk on the issue of the subsidy removal. He did not talk about the electricity tariff. The import duties, he is talking of widening them. Now, before you get the forex, you go and buy the items and bring them back. It will take time. He said that they are launching 40,000 naira per bag of rice. We have not seen anything. This is deceiving. They are deceiving Nigerians. Where are the bag of rice?
Okay.
The state government did not talk about that one. The 20 trucks given to them, they shied within themselves. We in the open market, we did not see anything.
Yeah.
We voted for them, and we are suffering.
Thank you.
Now, this thing has targeted some of the points why people are protesting. Maybe they may have with him. But they are telling the people that let's go for negotiation with who? Dialogue with who? No, it's not like mob action. No commanders.
Thank you.
Where will they go and sit down and discuss about it? And now they're saying that they prefer dialogue. And my friend is talking about the Lagos State governor. He did the right thing. I think being the president do something like that, people could have temper low. But that is speech. Let people to wake up this morning with a different thing.
Thank you.
You see? I think he has targeted some points whereby people, when they heard his voice, they were thinking that, okay, if there's a case, let's wait and see. No, the first day of protest, he did not talk.
Thank you,
the second day, he did not talk. In some countries, the first 1 hour of protest, the president will react.
Thank you, Yakubu Musa. That brings me to the point Yakubu Musa is making. In UK, for instance, if you draw a corollary with what happened in the United Kingdom, there was spontaneous, demonstration, killings. They burnt a mosque, arising from a xenophobic point of view and Islamophobia, the far right agree. And then what impressed me was the spontaneity of the response by Steph Kama, Steph Kama. But here, our leaders will allow things to linger and linger. And what even annoys me the more is the vituperative comments emanating from leaders. Our number 3 man does not know how to talk. That's the Senate president. Whenever he opens his mouth to talk, he exacerbates, any crisis that should have been nipped in the bud.
Now, I was saying something before the last caller on the issue of killings. Now, did you ever hear before now that amongst all the people who have been killed, that one of them wielded a weapon against the police or against the army. All they say was they looted. Now, people who looted, should they be killed? Because they looted. Are they supposed to be killed?
It is even their right
in 2022-2023, there was what they call the yellow vest protest in France that lasted for over 6 months. They destroyed things. No single soul died. As we speak now, there are also protests in the UK, and they are also looting, and they are destroying things, but nobody has been killed. So there's no justification for killing anybody in this country, unless you as a law enforcement officer, that your own life was in danger because somebody wanted to shoot you too.
Okay. Let's take this caller, John.
In self-defense.
Hello, good evening. This is Matters Arising.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Your name, please, and where you're calling from, and then you make your comment snappy.
Yes, my name is Musa Umar Haruna. I'm calling from Jos.
Musa Umar Haruna, go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, please. My own take concerning this protest. And you see, first of all, I would like to give a kudos to the Nigerian youth entirely for, coming out in mass to show their grievances in a manner in which the Nigerian Constitution allowed, which is supporting the fundamental human rights. Okay? You see, Nigerians have been suffering for long. There is no any single, single policy by the federal government and by the state government and down to the local government at large entirely. So you see, Nigerian youth, we don't have any future in this country. Most of our political leaders, all what they are after, they look at their selfish interests. They are not, to some extent, I can even give a clear description about them. I don't look at them as a patriotic leaders entirely. So therefore, my own call to the Nigerian youth is that please, let's embrace a peaceful protest. Let's be cautious with ourselves, please.
Thank you.
We shouldn't take it as a kind of rioting.
Thank you very much.
Peaceful protest and peaceful protest continue.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Kudos to Nigeria, kudos to you, kudos to everybody, all the supporters of this protest, kudos to them.
Okay. Kudos to you too from Jos. Thanks for calling. Thanks for your contribution. We appreciate it.
Like when you look at them, the fact that these protests in Plateau State it was quite safe, quite smooth, quite peaceful.
It was quite peaceful.
I remember that on Friday, the Muslims gathered to pray and the Christians just gathered them and they went on doing what they were doing and they finished their prayers. And on Sunday, the other way, the Muslims also were all around while the Christians did their prayers. And it was peaceful. It was after this speech that...
But that will not make the president address the fundamental issues.
And it was after this that the other people who didn't want, people who in some words, in some spaces are referred to as sponsored, and some people who are negative came in with their own to come and cause confusion.
Okay, let's take this caller. Okay, Chukwu, let's take this caller. Good evening. This is Matters Arising from KAFTAN Television.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Good evening.
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
I'm a son calling from Macauley State.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I thank you so much, the guests at the studio. I want to ask a question. If a Nigerian, if we the Nigerian cry for a particular thing, and they didn't show any concern about the crying of the people. Instead they are bringing out the police, army to fill everywhere. They are placed like northern part, which we hate that. Banditry are so much over there. Why didn't they send the police, army down there so that they go and do their work and leave the citizens to express their feelings? So I want to join my faith with one of the callers there, that if the president does not have anything to say, let him resign. If he's tired, let him resign. And we should know next steps to take. because the cry is too much. People are crying, are dying.
Thank you.
Let the police and the army go to forest and control the Boko Haram. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John, protests, one can tell when protests can begin, but the end of protest, nobody can predict. Exactly. You can hardly predict it. Look at what's happening in Bangladesh.
Exactly.
The Prime Minister has taken to her heels.
Yes, she has to go.
And now they are about inaugurating an interim government.
As it is.
The woman has to go. The whole Prime Minister.
Yes, after months of sustained protests.
Exactly.
And people say, that was it and that was it. That's why it's always good to even stem it, nip it in the bud before it starts. Because just like you said, you don't know how it's going to end.
Exactly.
Like all these lootings, destruction that we are seeing now, nobody predicted that.
Nobody predicted it.
So if the government had done the right thing at the onset, at the beginning, when they even had the window, the time to call these people, the protesters or the organizers, the leaders, but we kept on seeing government as a transactional thing. Government sees government, those in government, they see government as transactional.
Transactional, yes.
So it is about protecting their interests. Because if it isn't about protecting their interests, and the people say, and you can see it visibly, that this country is bleeding. You can see it.
Yeah. Okay, let's take this caller. Okechukwu is itching to say something. We have lost the caller.
So you could say that this country is bleeding, and you allowed it to degenerate to this level. It simply means, coupled with the speech of the president yesterday, that the government is totally and absolutely disconnected.
Disconnected. Okay, let's take this caller. Good evening. This is Matters Arising from KAFTAN Television Studios in Abuja, live.
Yes.
Your own, sir. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. My name is Johnson. I'm calling from Uyo, sir.
Johnson from Uyo. Go ahead with your contribution. Go ahead with your opinion.
I want to say something concerning the president's speech.
Go ahead. It's your show.
What president said was just empty.
Okay.
Now, Nigerians are suffering, and they needed the president to come out to address Nigerians on how to relate this suffering. The president was just coming out to tell Nigerians what he has done so far, which is not what Nigeria wants. So me, I want to join others to ask the president to resign, because it's like he does not really know what he's doing as the president of this country. Honestly, for him to come out like that to address Nigeria, it was just an empty speech.
Okay.
So I really want him to resign, or let's not.
Thank you so much for your caller from you. He wants the president to resign. These are three callers now that have, called for the resignation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I don't think it's feasible.
There is a whole lot involved in that matter, because there are advisors. Even if you have someone that does not know what to do and he has good advisors, he can still perform well. So what about those who are supposed to be advising him, those who are supposed to be telling him what to do? What do you do to them?
That's true.
So if you're talking about his resignation, talk about people too who have ill-advised him.
Okay, let's take this caller before John will say something. Good evening, this is Matters Arising. Hello, you're on.
Good evening.
Good evening, you're on, sir.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Pam Pacha. I'm calling from Jos.
From Jos, from your name, I know you're from Jos. Pam, go ahead.
Well, it's unfortunate that our leaders, they prefer fire brigade approach.
Yeah.
We expect the president and his cabinet, they would have called the organizers of this end hunger strike so that they deliberate upon. But unfortunately, because they are taking Nigerians or taking us for granted, that is why they did it the way it has happened. Just look at what happened in Kenya some months back. When the people went on protest, the president went on air immediately. First, he apologized. Here in Jos, we had a peaceful demonstration.
That's right.
Unfortunately, yesterday, around Bauchi Road, Zololo Junction. Those were hoodlums. They were not organized protesters. Because completely they were looters. And even today, they made an attempt again. The Nigerian context is very complicated. The organizers of End Bad Governance, they did organize themselves very well. But the way we are seeing from other states, most especially in the northeast and part of north central, you see, mostly it's these almajiris that are on the street pretending to be protesting. Actually, we know that we are not happy with the governance of this country. But then, if we are organizing a protest, we should do it formally.
Okay.
Even yesterday, on Friday, we were able to cover the Muslims during their prayers.
Yeah.
In Jos, yesterday during church services, some of them covered us. It's a good thing, and we continue together.
Okay.
But this one, they even went to an extent of bringing foreign flags in our country. Even me, if I'm a security personnel, it's an insult on my country.
Yes.
It's not easy for one to contain. So I wish you people well. I'm happy with the deliberation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate Pam from Jos. You see, Pam has brought out a vista of conversation where, some people brought in flags of other nations. It was Russian flag, right?
Yeah, Russian flag. Yeah.
They were, wielding Russian flags all over the place, as if we have any ties with Russia.
And the Russian embassy in Nigeria has actually come out today.
Yes, to speak against that.
Clarify that the Russian Federation, is in nowhere in cahoot with the people who are doing this. And again, the police also today announced that they have been able to trace and arrest the tailor who has been responsible for making the flags.
Yes.
But these flags have been seen across different parts of the country. So I hope time has come for the police to mop up this, because it's not just good. It is one of the negative aspects of this particular
Okay, John,
protest.
let's take this caller. Good evening. This is Matters Arising from KAFTAN Television Live.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead.
I'm calling from Macauley.
Yeah. Go ahead. It's your show. Your comments, please, in 30 seconds.
My name is Okoro.
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead, please, from your Akwa Ibom. Okay.
Well, it's solution now. Some of these protesters, I had some of them this morning.
Sorry, hold your thoughts. Let's take this caller. He's calling back. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. We can hear you loud and clear. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
Williams calling from Bayelsa.
Go ahead, Williams from Bayelsa. Your comments, your contribution.
Thank you, gentlemen, on the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you, Williams.
Appreciate.
Thank you.
I want to commend all of you for making it possible for people to contribute. God will bless all of you.
Amen. Amen. We say amen to that. We appreciate
Thank you.
When you are talking, I want to be very snappy so that other people will give their opinion.
That's right.
Now that I said it in this same KAFTAN television, that time will come when bulletproof cars given to government officials will not be able to run on Nigerian roads. And today, how many of them can drive that bulletproof car along the road during this protest? And I'm telling you again, before the day 10 of this protest, Nigeria knew, all the Nigerian youth, we know, we are not illiterate, we are all learned. We know where the wealth of this country is. The wealth of this country is in pipeline. And after the street protest, I am sure we will know, all of us will go back to farm, because those pipelines, vandalization has not started. I'm telling you the truth. Because if they cannot listen and solve the problem of hunger now, they are using the mineral resources of this country, milk it, enjoy it by themselves. It doesn't reach the common man. And very soon, the pipelines that convey oil from this country to other places will be attacked. And when that is done, the whole people will now listen to us. Now that we are shouting just food to eat, by that time everybody will return to the farm and let us do farm work, not to go to Abuja and stay and enjoy the wealth of every Nigerian.
Thank you,
Let
Williams.
the government listen now and do the right thing. If not, it will be too late.
Thank you,
Before
Williams.
they say. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Williams. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Williams.
It
I
is-
hope you're not becoming.
It is scary.
You will not be
When
a
Williams is
prophet of
painting-
doom.
Williams is painting the spectacle of the, of the era of popular vandalism by Niger Delta
militants,
before.
Well, we will not
let
get to
Yar'Adua-
that
Let's
level
pray
any
it doesn't
longer.
have.
Before
At
decided
least
to-
we have gone past that level.
Yes, yes,
How we
yes.
should be
Moving
let's take this
forward.
caller.
ahead again. Yes. yes.
Hello?
Not
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. This is Matters Arising. Good evening, sir. You're on.
I'm calling for John, sir. My name is Jonah from John.
Jonah from Jos, go ahead. You're a regular caller. I remember you.
I want to commend these people there.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. This seat where our president talked yesterday, very, very wrong. And the thing where we demand, mention anything. That's how we are angry. Okay, look at the Senate president. Look at when you are talking. If we are we are protest, we go to house the job. Look at where the number 3 citizen has talking. And come on, I won't put down there. Is this thing supposed to be? Look at this, our leader. Now our leader, they call this thing for Nigeria. Some people, they say Nigeria. Now our leader called all these things for us. I think now, making 2007 is coming. Now they will call it deceive people again, carry a t-shirt, carry all these things, deceive people. They say they will vote for them again. God no go allow them to rule again. By God's grace, this 2027, Tinubu must come down. By God's grace.
Thank
That's
you.
my take.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. John, you are saying something.
Sorry.
John is
what
saying
is it?
something.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the penultimate caller from Jos, there was something he said, about the people who are actually perpetrating these other aspects of violence, of looting,
violent protests,
and demonstrations and destruction of property. Now, that brings me to the army of unemployed youths. The army of unemployed youths.
Created by the system.
The army of children who are out of school, who are roaming the streets. These people, they are tools, ready tools, because they are dissatisfied, they are angry, and they see the society moving on and leaving them behind. So whenever they have the opportunity, they will visit their anger on the society. That is what is happening now. And that is why this protest is bringing out so many negativities within the system. And I hope and I believe that the government is saying this, because this issue of the army of unemployed youths is dangerous. If you see what happened at Tuesday Market this year, when an incident happened there, within some few minutes, that market was burned down. By who? By the army of unemployed youths, and they are across the country. So any little thing, they visit their anger on the society, and it's happening now.
Okay, let's take this last caller before Okechukwu says something. Good evening. This is Matters Arising on KAFTAN Television. Go ahead, please. Hello, are you there?
I'm calling from Lokoja.
From Lokoja, go ahead with your comment or contribution.
I want to ask a question. I see, is Mr. President said anything yet?
No, he hasn't said anything beyond that broadcast yesterday.
Okay, that is what I want to confirm, sir.
Okay, thank you. But we are hoping that something, positive is going to come out from the villa. We have just been hoping. We are not cynical. Thank you.
All right, I will wait.
Thank you.
Well, John, I just need to also emphasize the fact that government is not really supposed to be the one creating all the employment. Because the most important thing is for the government to create enabling environment for the people.
That is the environment that we're talking about.
Okay,
that enabling environment.
So as to that the people who will now create jobs for others, even some creating for themselves, will be able to thrive in this. And that way, a whole lot, much better things will happen. Someone had, on my program the other day, mentioned something about looking at China the way it is. That in China, you don't need to go and look for a mighty building to start a factory to construct for the production of one food item or the other, one commodity or the other. That the government has licensed them, given them license. Do it in that small way you can do it, as far as you're following the laid down rules, so that you not do something that is beyond that is of low standard. Just go ahead, and that way it helped them to develop. So we need to look inwards and find what our people are doing well and encourage them.
Now, as we wind down,
yes,
30 seconds each, John, starting from
the
solution.
You have a problem on our hands. Nigerians are on the streets now. Therefore, government, this is the time to show leadership.
Beautiful.
I want to plead, as far as I know, that life is in turns, and this time it is the turn of the people we have in government, but they should remember that they came out and carried out protests against the other government. Now that people are carrying out protests against them, let them also make the environment conducive for people, and not to let people lose lives. No life is more precious than the other.
Okay. My take is that I concur with the consensus by Nigerians that they did not vote President Tinubu's advisors. They did not vote into office his ministers. It is Mr. President that they've overwhelmingly voted, and the box stops at his table. He can come out today or tomorrow to make broadcasts that can calm frayed nerves and talk about these demands by young people in Nigeria that are calling for mass action. And this is how far we can go on our package tonight on Matters Arising. We thank our esteemed viewers and our vibrant callers for making the program interactive. On behalf of our producer, Ruben Okala, and the entire production team that made the program possible, I remain yours truly, Macauley Hunohashi. Good night and see you next time.
I am John Okoro. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okechukwu Onubogu here. May the best happen to you.
And as we say on KAFTAN TV,
imagine a beautiful world.